is Joseph Chacon, Josephchacon, Chief of Police here in Austin. I want to start today's this briefing by offering my thoughts and prayers to the people in Uvalde and for the tragedy that occurred at the elementary school there. I have already reached out to the Chief of Police there in Uvalde to offer obviously my prayers and thoughts, but also to offer any support that the Austin Police Department can offer. That's a horrible tragedy and just yet another demonstration of the gun violence that is occurring in our communities and in our nation right now. I am here today to talk about an officer-involved shooting that has occurred here in the city of Austin, and we'll be giving you as much information as I know right now, and then talking about next steps. At approximately 4:55 a.m., Austin 911 received a 911 call regarding a man with a gun. A gun hotshot call was issued and officers responded to the area. The caller stating that there was a man in a vehicle who was pointing a gun at other persons. Multiple officers responded, and approximately 5:10 a.m. arrived on scene and began looking in the area. At 5:11, 1 minute later, they did locate a vehicle that matched the description and had an occupant inside the vehicle. This was a black pickup truck. Officers cautiously began to approach the vehicle, knowing the nature of the call, and then the truck door on the driver's side opened, and they could see that there was a person sitting in the vehicle. They began issuing instructions to exit the vehicle. Please let us see your hands, and essentially to get the person to exit the vehicle. And basically within seconds of that truck door opening, the man inside began firing at the officers. Officers scrambled for cover and then returned fire into the vehicle. The vehicle then remained in that spot for several moments. Officers were behind cover and were telling the individual to exit the vehicle, to show his hands, and were also saying that they wanted to administer first aid to the individual, but needed him to come out of the vehicle to be able to do that. They could see that the individual was still inside the vehicle, was still moving, but he was not complying with the instructions and did not exit the vehicle. At approximately 5:30, officers finally were able to approach the vehicle safely, to open the car door, and to extract the individual from inside. Once they ensured that he did not have any weapons in his hands or on his person, they immediately began life-saving measures. EMS arrived approximately 2 minutes later, and they also performed life-saving measures. But in the end, they were unsuccessful, and at 5:37 a.m., that person, the male, was pronounced deceased on scene. There were no officers that were injured as a result of this incident. The incident was captured on officers' body-worn cameras. However, we are seeking information from anyone who might have seen or captured this incident on video themselves, and we're asking, if they did, to please call 911, or you can report anonymously through the Crime Stoppers tip line 512-472-TIPS. The individual involved has not been positively identified yet. He is a white male, possibly in his 40s, but as I said, right now we do not know who he is yet. We had 5 officers that were involved in this shooting. One officer has 7.5 years of time on the department. Another officer has 5 years on the department, and then a third officer has 4.5 years. The 2 officers, along with 7.5 and 4.5, are field training officers and had probationary officers with them at the time who were also involved in the shooting. So those final 2 officers are probationary, have been on the department for approximately 4 months. All of the officers will be placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of this investigation. There will be two concurrent investigations that occur. The first is a criminal investigation conducted by our Special Investigations Unit in conjunction with our District Attorney's Office. The second investigation will be conducted by Internal Affairs. It's an administrative investigation, and it will be overseen by the Office of Police Oversight. Ms. Sylvia Hardman with the OPO is here on scene this morning. As is our normal practice, we will be releasing video within 10 working days of this incident. So you can anticipate the video being released. Before I open it up for questions, I want to just make a statement. You know, I've been talking since I took over as the Chief of Police about gun violence in our communities. That it is an epidemic, that we've been seeing more and more of it. And this is the second time in as many weeks that we've had officers that, as they're arriving on scene, as they're approaching, are encountering gunfire that is coming directly from individuals. You know, first of all, I want to say that our officers bravely show up every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to keep this community safe. And as others are running away from gunfire, they're running towards it. And that is yet again what we saw today. The fact that we have firearms that are being used in so many of these incidents and so many crimes is completely unacceptable. I am working with our District Attorney's Office, our U.S. Attorney's Office, with our partners at the Travis County Sheriff's Office, as well as our federal law enforcement partners on ways in which we can curb gun violence, looking at it both from a proactive or violence prevention standpoint, as well as a reactive, and looking at the targeted prosecutions we can do for those that are committing these crimes over and over. I encourage our community to safely secure your firearms. Do not let them fall into the hands of those that would do bad things with them and commit crimes. And to please, if you have information about people who may be wanting to commit crimes, that you call 911. We are here to try and prevent those things before they occur. All of the information that I provided today is very preliminary. So obviously it could change based on the investigation. The crime scene is still very active right now. I would encourage folks to just kind of avoid the area as we have it blocked off. And I will take a few questions. I'm not sure how much more information I can provide.
I was going to say, the truck on the side, we haven't been able to really see the crime scene. It's off the roadway, kind of. Did it leave the roadway? Did it, come to that position after the exchange of gunfire?
Officers encountered that vehicle where you see it when they arrived.
Can you say something real quick in Spanish?
Sí, este es un incidente que pasó esta mañana. Oficiales estaban respondiendo a una llamada, una persona que tenía un arma de fuego, y cuando llegaron la persona en un vehículo empezó a disparar a los oficiales. Los oficiales disparó a él y esa persona ahora está muerto. Es una investigación que está continuando, y si personas en la comunidad tienen información sobre este crimen, por favor, llame la 911.
Some residents that live around here said that they've seen similar incidents. They've heard gunfire around here. Is that something officers in this, precinct district are seeing?
Unfortunately, we're seeing that across the city, and we're seeing that more and more, where we're seeing guns that are being used in these type of crimes, and it is just, it's tragic. It's leading to tragedies like we saw in Uvalde, and tragedies that we're seeing here in our own community that are affecting our families. And as I said, it is of the highest priority for this police department and for me that we curb this kind of violence.
What does that do for officers when you're trying to hire and, you know, get more officers to come here to know that that is on the rise? Is it difficult to recruit?
So I will say that, you know, Austin is not alone in this phenomenon. We are seeing it across the country. And for those who have a heart for service and want to join the police department, it isn't as though coming to Austin, they're going to find themselves in more or less danger than anywhere else right now. It is just, it is a problem. So we continue to have people that are signing up for our academy classes, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And we will continue to train those officers and get them out on the street as soon as we can.
As far as weapon for the suspect, has that been identified?
So the weapons that are involved in this, I don't have the information on that, nor the number of shots fired. All of that will have to come out in the investigation. One more question, please, if any.
What do you tell the citizens of Austin that are watching this morning as we see, you know, homicides go up the last year and this year basically on track to stay around the same thing as when it comes to safety?
You know, I think that's part of my overall message right now, which is, you know, we need a community that is really working with us, that is vigilant, and that is engaged with one another, because you know, I don't have nearly the number of officers that I need to be able to patrol every street every night. They're running from call to call, and we're in a very many times reactive mode to these kind of calls. So it really is imperative that that the community gets to know each other, know your neighbors, watch out for one another, and to report suspicious activity when you see it. I promise we will respond, especially if we think that a gun is involved or you think a gun is involved. We will be responding to those. But to really engage with the police department and help us keep this community safe.
Just one follow-up to that real quick. Some residents saying, you know, they do make calls like that and it takes time to respond. I know there's a lack of officers, but, you know, what do you tell them who maybe have lost the faith?
You know, don't lose faith. This community, I've made the commitment to keep this community safe. And with the number of officers that we have, I promise you, they are running code, which is lights and siren, all night long to various different calls, trying to get there as quickly as they can, to obviously be patient with us because we are experiencing you know, staffing issues, but we will continue to address those by making sure that we have enough officers out here so that we keep our community safe, and I'm keeping the officers safe. Thank you very much.